bummy today. You was bony and looking too funny today. I don't care, nigga still make change. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheeze podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze, and y'all already know the motto: no gimmicks, only the real. This is episode 42. I appreciate y'all joining me for this week's episode, but y'all know what I need from y'all. Continue smashing that subscribe button. We are on our way to 300 subscribers, and also do not forget to like and share the content when the episode is dropped. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first and foremost, the way I'm going to begin this episode, I didn't know if I wanted to touch on this topic or not. It was kind of, wishy-washy for me, but I decided that, I was going to go ahead and speak on it just for a split second. I just wanted to send my condolences out to the family and friends of superstar wide receiver from LSU, Kyron Lacy. An unfortunate event happened on Saturday night, and it broke news Sunday morning. It took the entire football world by surprise. I woke up and seen the news and instantly thought that it was fake. This situation to me is bigger than football. That's why I decided I didn't really know if I wanted to speak on it or not. I didn't know how I wanted to put my words together to speak on it, but it's just a very sad situation. A young man that had a very, very bright future in front of him. Some unfortunate things happened leading up to the events that occurred on Saturday night. And, even before that, if you know, if you don't do your research, I'm not even going to dive deep into that. But before those incidents occurred, this young man was going to be a top draft pick in this upcoming NFL draft, and unfortunately that won't happen anymore. And I just wanted to send my condolences out to his family, send my condolences out to his friends, the University of LSU, and just send my prayers and my well wishes to them, because I know this is a tough time that they're going through right now. And just check on your peoples, man. You never know what people going through. You never know what's on somebody's mental or what's going on in their life. And sometimes, you may call and reach out and think that everything is fine, and come to find out it's not. So, man, rest in peace to Kyron Lacy. An unfortunate situation. And like I said, I'm going to keep repeating it. I just want to send my condolences and to his family, the University of LSU. And like I said, situations like this is bigger than football. Like, it's bigger than sports. This is stuff that's going on around the world, and we just gotta, check up on our folks. And one thing we gotta do is stop being so judgmental. I see a lot of people, want to bet. We get the privilege. I always say, one of my sayings is, the internet is a gift and a curse, because it gives people. It's a gift because it gives people the opportunity, see different things and see what's going on around the world that we wasn't able to see years ago. But it's also a curse because it gives people a platform that like to hide behind screens and be very judgmental of, what a mistake somebody may have made or what's going on in somebody's life. It gives people those opportunities to be judgmental of those people when deep down they don't really know what's going on, or they don't know what would go on if they were in that person's shoes. So I always try to give people a little bit of grace, even though sometimes some people may don't deserve it, but I try to give people a little bit of grace. And it's just an unfortunate situation. 24 years old. It's unfortunate. I'm not going to get too much into it, but like I said, and I know I done said it 3 or 4 other times, rest in peace to Kyron Lacy. My condolences to his family, friends, and everything like that, man. And hold y'all head. I know it's going to be rough, but hopefully, you guys are able to, as time go on, you guys are able to, cope. And, that's just it. Moving on to my next topic of this episode. So, as we all know, I made a small video about it. I didn't really get a chance to touch into it too much because the news had just broke on, I believe it was Saturday morning. The news had just broke. So I touched on it a little bit in my video, but I decided, I'm going to run it back and get more into depth as more info came out. So, as we know, on Saturday, the University of Tennessee, the Tennessee Volunteers decided to move on from starting quarterback Nico Iamaleava due to an NIL dispute, and Nico will enter the transfer portal, I believe, tomorrow, and try to go find another team. So Tennessee football head coach Josh Heupel made his first public comments after reports Saturday morning that quarterback Nico Iamaleava has left the program and will enter the transfer portal. It's the state of college football, Heupel told the Vol Network. At the end of the day, no one is bigger than the program. No one is bigger than the program. That includes me too. We've got an opportunity. We've got a bunch of guys that will give their all for Tennessee. Heupel was asked about Iamaleava during the orange and white spring game at Neyland Stadium on Saturday. UT and Iamaleava parted ways after a dispute over NIL pay escalated quickly. Iamaleava skipped practice on Friday and cut off communication with UT coaches before the spring game on Saturday. Josh Heupel told the team that UT was moving forward without Iamaleava, the starting quarterback and former five-star recruit. The transfer portal opens on April 16th. Iamaleava is expected to enter it following what appears to be a holdout. Iamaleava sought a renegotiation to his NIL deal, which reportedly paid him more than $2 million per year. Last season, Iamaleava passed for 2,616 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. The Vols offense struggled at times, but Iamaleava led them to a 10-3 record in UT's first appearance in the college football playoff. So on this whole situation, and this one right here was tricky for me because, like I said, I made it abundantly clear from Jump Street when the NIL thing went down that I was all for players getting their money, all for players being paid for going out there and risking their bodies, putting their bodies on the line in college football, trying to dodge that landmine before they made their move on to the NFL. And, I was all with that. I'm all for players getting their money. I'm still with that till this day. But what we got to understand is when that happened, when NIL came aboard, we got to understand that this changed the whole landscape of college sports in period. Not just football, basketball included. If you just witnessed what went on during the March Madness tournament with basketball, you seen, I believe in like one day, like 700 or something like that, players entered the transfer portal. Like, this is where we are in college sports. But in this situation right here, I got to be on the side of the University of Tennessee because I just feel like, I understand you feel like you had a solid year. You feel like you seeing guys come in who haven't even touched a football field for a university yet, and they're getting these outrageous NIL deals. They're getting these big numbers, and you feel like, man, let me try to go back to the table and get a bigger slice of the pie. But I just feel like this whole situation was gone by completely wrong from Nico, whoever represents him. Also, I believe his father is involved. I just believe they took the wrong approach. Maybe if you would have went about it the professional way, not holding out or not, cutting off communication, maybe this thing could have been handled completely different. But for you to cut off communication with the coaches and right in the midst of them about to have a spring game, I just felt like it was done unprofessionally. And honestly, I don't see, if I'm another team that's maybe looking to bring him in, I'm kind of weary on having to deal with his representatives or having to deal with whoever's going to come and speak for him. But after seeing what, just was done, and I could see why Tennessee fans from this point forward will have a sour taste in their mouth about him, because this team is coming off a 10-3 record, made it to their college football playoff for the first time, and now they basically lose their starting quarterback. And don't get me wrong, yes, he had a solid freshman year, but you got like they said in the statement, the offense did struggle at times, and yes, they did make the college football playoff, but they got blown out in the first round by Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? So I just think, I think the situation could have been handled much, much better on Nico's end. And I'm honestly happy for that the university stood their ground, because even though what Nico did could cause a groundswell for other players to do this, to try to do the same, I'm glad that the university stood their ground due to the fact that no, we're not going to allow that to happen. And hopefully that will kind of calm it down just a little bit, because I mean some of these NIL things are getting out of hand. But like I said, I understand these players, they want to be paid and they deserve to be paid. But it get to a point where it's like, okay, guys, we gotta, it gotta be some give and take with this thing here. The reports is that he's getting paid $2 million, he wanted $4 million. But I'm seeing people online saying that they don't feel like he deserved the increase or whatever the case may be. I don't know. What I'm guessing is that he's seen what other recruits were getting coming in who haven't played a single game in college football, and they probably were coming in getting paid more money than he is. So he probably felt like, shit, well, let me go back to the table and try to up my situation. But I have no issue with that, wanting to up your situation. My issue is the way that you went about it, and I feel like you and your representatives attempted to try to hold the university hostage, knowing that we have a spring game coming up. We about to start ramping up, starting small things until get prepared for the season, and I'ma just pull this now. You know what I'm saying? That should have been something maybe discussed once the season was over, and that's something that you talk about and you still go about it in a professional manner. But for you to basically just do it right now, I mean, I felt like it could have been handled a much better way than that. I like that Tennessee stood their ground and said, you know what, we'll rather move on and rebuild this thing before we allow somebody, no matter how good he is, to hold us hostage and basically carry us, because that's basically what he tried to do. And I'm glad that they did that. NIL is just for all of us college fans moving forward. We just got to understand that this is what college sports is now. This is what it's become, and we just got to get used to it. And probably by next year or the year after that, we gonna be seeing guys enter the draft who done played for 3 or 4 different schools. You know what I'm saying? Before entering the draft, this is where it's at. Not only on the football side, you see what's going on the basketball side as well too. So this is just where we at in college sports in total. And like I said, I'm not sure what his plans is now. Maybe it was this may be a humbling experience for him, because I believe any team that is going to be looking to bring him in, I seen a report today that came to my phone saying that teams are hoping that he lowers his asking price. So apparently what you're asking for, these universities, they're not valuing you there. So, you know what I'm saying? This may end up being something that may end up, biting them. This move may end up coming back to bite them. You know what I'm saying? And this may be a humbling experience for him, to where you think you bigger than the program. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just glad that Tennessee stood their ground, and I'm not mad at the young man for feeling like he's worth more than what he's getting. I'm not mad at that at all. If you feel like you worth more, go get your bread. I have no problem with that at all. But sometimes, you gotta evaluate the situation before you just decide to jump out there. And I think he decided to jump out there, and now we just gotta see what's going to happen with it. But you seen NIL, Nick Saban basically retired due to NIL. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to deal with it because he knew what was gonna, even though we know what Nick Saban and them was doing on the low anyway, but he didn't want to have to deal with it, because he knew what was coming. And now we here. So I don't know what's gonna go on with this whole situation, but I'm on the side of the University of Tennessee. I'm glad that they stood their ground. I'm glad that, they decided to say, no, we're not going to allow this to happen. We're not going to allow you to hold us hostage, and we're going to go separate ways. We're going to do our thing, and, you go out there and find somebody that's hopefully willing to give you what you're looking for. But we'll see what happens with this situation. I believe the transfer portal opens Wednesday, which will be tomorrow. So we'll see what's going on with this situation. But I'm on the side of the university with this one. Moving on to my next subject. NBA playoffs are finally here. So the play-in games are going down. Actually, one of them is going down right now as I'm recording, but we have the play-ins going on Tuesday and I believe tomorrow, and then the final one will be either Thursday or Friday between whoever loses tonight and whoever wins tomorrow. You know how I go to play-in. And I believe officially Saturday, the NBA playoffs will start. So my question is, what team is headed into the playoffs with the most momentum? And my answer to that question, what I believe, the Los Angeles Clippers are heading into the NBA playoffs right now with the most momentum. I love what the Clippers are doing. Since Kawhi Leonard has been back, this team has looked absolutely amazing. And I'm gonna be honest with you right now, any team in the Western Conference should not want to have to run into the Clippers with the way that they playing. But before I dive into that, I'm going to take you back to Sunday, which was the final regular season games of the NBA season. The Los Angeles Clippers defeated the Golden State Warriors 124-119. James Harden hit consecutive three-pointers in overtime, a pair of free throws, and scored on Jimmy Butler's goaltending to finish with 39 points and 10 assists. Kawhi Leonard added 33 points, and the Los Angeles Clippers secured the 5th seed in the Western Conference playoffs by beating the Golden State Warriors 124-119 in the team's regular season finale Sunday. Zubac added 22 points and 17 rebounds for the Clippers, who have won 8 straight and 18 of 21 headed into their first playoff round series against the Denver Nuggets. Los Angeles has won the last seven in the series, including all 4 meetings this season and 3 in a row on Golden State's home floor. But Leonard hasn't played in the 3 previous matchups this season. Clippers for the Clippers, Harden shot 13 for 23 and Leonard was 13 of 19 with 3 steals. They combined to shoot 9 of 16 from deep. Since Kawhi Leonard's return from injury this season, in 36 games played, he is averaging 21.5 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 3.1 assists per game. He is also shooting 49.3% from the field and 40.7% from three-point range. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. The main thing with the Clippers is it's always been said about them. If Kawhi Leonard is right, health-wise, the Clippers will always be in the mix. I did early in the season when the season first began. I said I didn't know. I thought that the Clippers would have a down year due to the fact that I didn't know the condition of Kawhi's health. Since Kawhi Leonard has been back, he has been playing phenomenal. If the Clippers can get this version of Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs and he could stay healthy, nobody wants to see them. Nobody wants to see the Clippers. James Harden I don't know what he did in the offseason. He went and found a fountain of youth. In my opinion, this is the best version of James Harden we've seen since he's left Houston. I understand when he went to Brooklyn, he looked good, and that back half of the year for Brooklyn, but he sustained that injury, and that was around the time when he started to transition more into that point guard role, facilitating. Then he left Brooklyn, ended up going to Philly. This year's James Harden, this is the best version of James Harden to me we have seen since he have left the Houston Rockets. James Harden this year is averaging 22.8 points, 5.8 rebounds with 8.7 assists. Ivica Zubac, to me, who's one of the best big men in the league, he's giving you 16.8 points with 12 rebounds. My only concern for them is when Zubac leaves the floor, they are a little small, but I think they could kind of make up for that with what they can do with their scoring. They are kind of small. That's my only concern for them going into this Denver series. Zubac is going to have to stay out of foul trouble. He's going to have to, make sure that he's out there playing smart. And I think, me personally, I got the Clippers winning the series. I think that Mike Malone firing, I think in the playoffs, that this is right here is where it's going to show. This right here is where it's going to show. But Norman Powell giving you 21.8 points, 3.2 rebounds with 2.1 assists. I believe he was an all-star snub. Also, was not to mention the Los Angeles Clippers are ranked top 3 in defense this year. So they're defending at a very high clip, and also they can give you buckets on the offensive side of the ball. Not to mention with Bogdanovic coming off the bench, also with Derrick Jones. They just have a great all-around team. With Tyronn Lue at the helm, man, the Clippers to me are headed. They are the number one team headed into the playoffs with the most momentum. They should have the most momentum, and their fans should be very excited. As long as Kawhi Leonard can stay upright, nobody should want to see this team in the Western Conference. I'm not saying that they're going to go win the finals. I'm not saying that they're going to go win the championship. But I'm saying that if I'm Denver, if I'm OKC, if I'm the Lakers, if I'm Houston, I don't want to have to see the Clippers in those 7 game series. Also, not to mention Golden State, they've beaten Golden State multiple times, and without Kawhi. This was the first time Kawhi has played them this year in the finale, in the regular season finale. So, you know what I'm saying? What did it say? Los Angeles has won the last seven in the series, including all 4 meetings this season. So they swept Golden State this year. So you know Golden State don't want to have to see them. The Clippers are dangerous, man. They are dangerous, and we know what Kawhi Leonard does in the playoffs when he's right. When he's right. The last time I remember seeing Kawhi was even when he tried to give it a go last year. He was doing okay, and then he ended up getting re-injured and having to sit out the rest of that series, I believe, against Dallas. But the Clippers are rolling, man. Winners of their last, I believe, 8 in a row? They have won their last, I believe, who have won 8 straight, and they 18-21 heading into their first round playoff series against the Denver Nuggets. But yeah, the Clippers are on fire, man. If I'm if a Clippers fan base, they should be excited. The main thing is just if everybody can stay healthy, and if they can continue playing on this clip, they need this same version of James Harden in the playoffs, because Kawhi needs somebody to play off of. They need this same version of James Harden. They need Norman Powell to get his buckets. They need Zubac to play smart and stay out of foul trouble, but also give you the production that he's been giving you. And they also, need that bench. Bogdanovic, Derrick Jones. You need the guys. They got my man Dunn. They need guys. To step up in this playoff series. But I'm picking the Clippers to win. I'm picking the Clippers to win in 6. If the Clippers can sneak one in Denver, that's when the series is gonna get fun. If they could sneak one in Denver. But I'm picking the Clippers to win this series. I think that Mike Malone firing is gonna show in the playoffs. And that's what that's what I'm more so looking forward to seeing how Denver performs in the playoffs after the firing of their head coach. But I think this is right here is what's really going to show. But as far as the Clippers, they should have all the momentum in the world heading into the playoffs. The way that they've looked, this last month, I wouldn't want to see the Clippers. And unfortunately, Denver got to stand in front of it, but I wouldn't want to see him. Kawhi in 36 games giving you 21 points a game with 5 rebounds, 3 assists, just coming off his last game with 33 points. Sheesh. I ain't going to lie to you, man. The Clippers rolling. But we do this with the Clippers every year. So this is the year y'all got to prove us wrong. We do this with the Clippers every year. When they had Paul George, we saying the Clippers. This is the year right here. You got to show me. We possibly could look up and it could be a Lakers and Clippers Western Conference Finals, or maybe I don't know. My favorite is still if I had to say right now, coming out of the West would be OKC. I'm not going to short them like that, but right now I got the Clippers beating Denver in that first round. I'm gonna jump out there and straight say it. But yeah, that's my pick for the team I believe heading into the playoffs that has the most momentum is the Los Angeles Clippers. Next up, the matchups that I'm most excited to see in round 1 of the NBA playoffs. So for me, I did one matchup from the Eastern Conference, one matchup from the Western Conference. The matchup that I went with from the Eastern Conference was the New York Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons, the 3rd seed versus the 6th seed. The Detroit Pistons have a record of 3-1 versus the Knicks this season. Cade Cunningham has averaged 30.8 points, 8.3 assists, and 5 rebounds in 4 games this year versus the Knicks. The Knicks records versus good teams this year, they are 0-4 versus the Celtics, 0-2 versus the Lakers, 0-2 versus the Thunder, 0-2 versus the Clippers, and 0-4 versus the Cavaliers. I'm going to be honest with you. This right here was a tough one for me. In this series right here, it's going to come down to, this right here is going to be a tough one for the Knicks. I'm going to pick the Knicks. I'm going to take the Knicks to win this series. But I'm going to be honest, I could see this series going 7 games. We all know, if we watch, this is not the same Knicks team from last year. I don't believe the Knicks have that same firepower. I believe that they're gonna need Mikal. This is what you traded for Mikal Bridges for. You're gonna need him to step up big. You're gonna need Jalen Brunson to do his thing. You're gonna need Cat. Cat is gonna have to be huge in these playoffs. All y'all that was going at Julius Randle, and I was one of them. Everybody that was going at Julius Randle, this right here, we gonna see if y'all gonna keep the same energy for Cat. All the regular season stuff, cool. I seen what Cat was doing in the regular season. This is where it matters right here, though, for Cat. This is where it's the most important. Playoff time. What you gonna do when it come playoff time? They're gonna need Josh Hart. They're gonna need that whole supporting cast to, you know what I'm saying, step up for the Knicks to win. Because I'm gonna tell you, the Pistons are coming in and they are not scared. Pause. They are not scared. They are not shying away. Cade Cunningham is a rising star in this league, one of the best players in the league currently, in my opinion. JB Bickerstaff got them boys playing on another level with Cade Cunningham. You got Malik Beasley off the bench. You got who else? Who else on that mob? They got that young. They got that young energy, and they completely turn their season around this year after being a laughing stock last year. One of the worst team, probably the worst team in the league last year, or one of them. But to turn their season around and make the playoffs after one season with a full season of Cade, with, like I said, guys like Malik Beasley, you got guys like Schroeder, you got guys like Stewart. Just a whole, they have a good, solid team. And I honestly think, at first I was leaning to pick the Pistons, but I had to sit back and think about it. They young, this is going to be their really first playoff series, and the Knicks have that experience. So I went with the Knicks. I went with the Knicks in 6 games, but I wouldn't be shocked if this series goes 7 games and we may be looking at the Knicks back against the ropes. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be shocked by that at all. I just told you what the Knicks record is versus good teams this season. And the Pistons are a good team. And the Pistons won the season series versus the Knicks this year. So they can beat them. They can beat them for sure. So that's going to be a series that I'm going to be paying very close attention to this upcoming playoffs this weekend. And for the Western Conference, I went 3rd and 6 again. I went the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Lakers and Timberwolves split the season series this year 2-2. LeBron James averaged 19.7 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists in 3 games against the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards averaged 19 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 3 assists in 4 games against the Lakers. In 28 games, before I get to that part, this series I'm very interested in, and I'm seeing mixed emotions for this series right here. I'm seeing a lot of people say, some people going with the Knicks. Some people going with the Timberwolves, and some people going with the Lakers. Let me tell you what I believe the Timberwolves are going to have to do to win this series. Anthony Edwards is going to have to go nuclear. Anthony Edwards is going to have to revert back to that Anthony Edwards that we seen in the first round of the playoffs last year when he swept the Phoenix Suns. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have to revert back to that. 19 points is good, but ain't going to have to at least rise that up, I would say, to about 23, 24 points in this series. And he's going to have to get help from that supporting cast. Nas Reed is going to have to step up. DiVincenzo is going to have to step up. Julius Randle is going to have to play a huge role in this series. Alexander Walker, Jaden McDaniels is going to have to play a huge role in this series on the defensive end. Because the Lakers, one thing that I've noticed since adding Luka Doncic, even before that, the Lakers supporting cast has been very solid this year. Austin Reeves giving you 20 points a game. Rui Hachimura giving you 13. And now you add Luka into the fold, and he changed the whole dynamic of this series. Luka has averaged 23.9 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 7 assists in 18 games versus the Timberwolves in his career. The last time they played the Timberwolves, Luka, in a Lakers uniform versus the Timberwolves, in a Lakers uniform versus the Timberwolves, Luka had 21 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists. In 28 games, Luka Doncic has averaged 28.2 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 7.5 assists for the Lakers. Luka changes the whole dynamic of the Lakers for me in this whole entire series. I'm picking the Lakers to win this series. I think the Lakers are winning in 6. I have the Lakers at bare minimum making it to the Western Conference Finals. So that's why I'm taking the Lakers in this series. But I believe the Timberwolves can definitely make it interesting if Ant can hit that switch and be the Anthony Edwards that we seen in the playoffs last year. He hit a vicious switch last year and turned up. To me, it was a battle between him and Luka for the best, who was the best player in the playoffs all of last year, to me, because Anthony Edwards was playing out of his mind. So I think if Ant can raise his game, like I said, take that 19 points and maybe get it up to about 23, 24, and then if Julius Randle can contribute, Julius Randle, you average 18.7 this year, bruh. They need that. They need that at least 19, at least 18 to 20 points a game from you. Naz Reid, they gonna at least need 15. DiVincenzo, can we get at least 15? You know what I'm saying? They gonna need that on the defensive end. Jaden McDaniels, he's probably gonna. I don't know how they gonna do it as far as Garland, Luka, and LeBron and Rudy Gobert. They gonna need you on the defensive end and also, crashing the glass. The Lakers have been solid this year, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just they have it from so many areas that they can hit you from with Luka, with LeBron. Then you got Austin Reeves playing out, having, to me, the best season of his career. Rui Hachimura. Dorian Finney-Smith has been giving them great production off the bench. Gabe Vincent have been giving them great production off the bench. Also with the Lakers have been getting great production just from their team as a whole. And then once you add, Hayes have been playing some good basketball for them as well too. Since the departure since the trade with Anthony Davis and Luka, he had to step in and be that starting big man. And I think he's been doing a fantastic job. The Lakers can just beat you from so many different ways, and I think that Minnesota is going to have to answer that call, and they're going to have to fight fire with fire, especially, like I said, with Luka takes the Lakers to a whole nother dimension for me. So that's going to be a series that I'm also going to be paying close attention to. But in my opinion, right now, I got the Lakers winning that series in 6. But I definitely believe that this is another series that I believe can go 7. The Timberwolves are 8th in offensive rating and 6th in defense. So they're doing it on both sides of the ball. They're playing solid defense and they're getting buckets on offense. They're going to need that to translate over into the playoffs, especially in this first round. Because honestly, if the Timberwolves can beat the Lakers in the first round, I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that opened the door to where we could possibly see Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals, possibly NBA Finals. You know what I'm saying? So this series right here is very important. I'm so happy that these two teams got matched up against each other. This is a series that I'm going to be looking forward to, and I'm definitely going to be paying close attention to. Moving on. So yesterday, which was Monday, the news broke. The Phoenix Suns fire head coach Mike Budenholzer. After one season, the team announced. ESPN first reported the move. Competing at the highest level remains our goal, and we failed to meet expectations this season. Our fans deserve better. Change is needed, the team said. Phoenix made huge moves in the last couple of seasons in an attempt to get back into the NBA championship picture. It started with accusations. It started with them getting Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets, and it was followed by the trade for Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards. Durant finished up his second full season with the Suns, and Beal wrapped up his second season in Phoenix. The Suns were 36-46 and missed the playoffs for the first time in 4 seasons. Budenholzer came over from the Milwaukee Bucks after his shocking departure. He coached the Bucks to an NBA title win over the Suns. Phoenix will now enter an offseason filled with uncertainty, and their shrewd moves have ultimately come to backfire. The Suns' first-round pick was swapped with the Houston Rockets, who will have an opportunity to have a lottery selection despite being one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Frank Vogel was the coach of the Phoenix Suns last season and was fired after 1 season with the team as well. My thoughts on this whole situation: at the end of the day, you could blame Mike Budenholzer. I'm seeing a lot of reports coming out that him and Devin Booker wasn't seeing eye to eye. Bradley Beal was upset with him for comparing him to Drew Holiday, telling him to be like Drew Holiday. All this situation, all blase, whatever you want to feel. In my situation, this falls at the feet of Matt Ishbia in the front office of the Phoenix Suns and also James Jones. At the end of the day, somebody has to be held accountable, and I believe you guys should be held accountable. You messed up. You messed this team up, and now the future for the Phoenix Suns is looking very dim. You fired Frank Vogel after the first season and blamed it all on him. Everybody made it seem like it was his fault. You go into the offseason only having Kevin Durant for half a season. Instead of you trying to run it back with DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and that team that you had when KD first was traded there, you basically blow the team. You basically blow it up and make a trade for Bradley Beal, who never fit with the team because you got Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, who basically are the same player, and Bradley Beal never fit from Jump Street, and it's just been bad since. You made the playoffs last year under Frank Vogel and end up getting swept in the first round, and then you turn around and hire Mike Budenholzer. You know what I'm saying? You give him basically you basically give him the scraps to pick up. You make a couple of moves. You start out the season 8-1, number 1 in the first seed in the Western Conference, and then Kevin Durant goes down, and the whole thing goes to trash. Now you end up missing the playoffs. At the end of the day, this falls at the feet of the owner. The owner has no idea what he's doing. And now you're going to go into the offseason. More than likely, you're going to have to trade Kevin Durant to try to get some of your assets back. Probably from Houston or somebody like that, because you gave all your picks to Houston, and now you were so terrible this year. Houston is going to have a lottery pick, probably a top pick, and they one of the best teams in the NBA. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause, and it's going to be hard to find a team that's going to be willing to take on his contract. And honestly speaking, if I'm Devin Booker, I'm going to the front office to try to find out what's going to be their direction, and if the direction is not what I'm willing to hear, if I'm Devin Booker, I'm looking for a way out myself, because they have no direction. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The Bradley Beal deal should have never been done. Matt Ishbia is running the team like he's playing NBA, like he's sitting in front of a TV playing NBA 2K. You put a bunch of pieces together that don't work when you should have just gave Devin Booker and Kevin Durant a chance by themselves, along with Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and that team that you originally had when the deal was made for Kevin Durant. You should have at least gave that team a half a season to see what they'll look like before making the deal for Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal never fit. He never fit. And then they tried to do the thing with moving him to the bench, and that never worked. I mean, it worked for a little bit, but his ego's too big. Bradley Beal's he's not a star. I mean, he's a max player contract-wise. He's not a max player as far as what we seeing out on the floor, but contract-wise, he's a max player. So his ego's too big for him to even see himself coming off the bench. And then my thing is, now a report is coming out coming out that he was upset about being asked to play like Drew Holiday. Bro, Drew Holiday is better than you. The Suns front office will give an arm and a leg to trade Bradley Beal right now for Drew Holiday. Let's be real. Drew Holiday is a two-time champion, is a two-time NBA champion. Just won a gold medal with Team USA. Drew Holiday, I don't understand. I mean, of course, nobody wants to be compared to another player, but yeah, Phoenix Suns fans would hope that you play like Drew Holiday too. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing, it's just been terrible, man. It's just been terrible. I believe KD will be gone this offseason. They already said that they went about that whole situation wrong, leaking out, letting it be leaked out that they were trying to move him at the trade deadline. You know, and KD did the professional thing, still coming back, playing hard. But I believe that them two will come together to try to facilitate a trade this offseason to try to help at least Phoenix get some of those picks back. But this falls at the feet of Matt Ishbia and James Jones. I don't even blame Mike Budenholzer. Yeah, he may have been awful, but I mean, he was on. You can't. So what's the plan now? You gonna give another coach another? You gave Frank Vogel 1 year, he was fired. Now you gave Budenholzer 1 year, he's fired. So now what's the next move? You bring in another coach, and then after 1 year, you give him some scraps to pick up and try to piece something together. And then what you gonna do? Fire him? It's not gonna keep working like that. This whole thing, these past 2 years, it's been awful. It's been awful, and it's been awful to watch. And this just shows right here that you can't grab a bunch of pieces, stars, and put them all on one team and just assume they're going to work. It has to be some type of team building and matching pieces with pieces and see who fits with what. Matt Ishbia is just looking at it like he's playing 2K and we could just put all these guys together and it's going to win us a championship. It don't work like that. So at the end of the day, it's unfortunate. Mike Budenholzer was the scapegoat, and he was the guy who lost his job. But I blame the front office. I blame Matt Ishbia and James Jones. And like I said, if I'm Devin Booker, I'm going into the front office to find out what are you guys' plans? How do you guys plan on fixing this? And if they can't give you a legitimate answer, if I'm Devin Booker, I'm trying to find my way out of Phoenix. I believe KD will be out of Phoenix this offseason, and I don't know what their plan is going to be with Bradley Beal due to the fact that contract is abysmal. And I don't see who's going to want to take that contract on. And you know what I'm saying? And with that no trade clause, he gets to decide. I don't know. But I blame the front office for that. And at the end of the day, this is what happens when you think you can just put together a whole bunch of stars and it'll just magically get you a championship. It don't work like that. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this episode. Like I said, man, y'all know where to find me each and every week. I appreciate y'all for locking in with me. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button. Like I said, we are on the road to 300 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like and share the content when it is dropped. Lastly, follow me on all social media platforms. I've been real active on the platforms lately. So, man, follow me on all social media platforms. And I'll see y'all next time.